Thank you, Minister, for making yourself available at such short notice. That in itself is a strong statement of how seriously you're taking this situation, and I hear your assurances in that regard, and that you are indeed monitoring the situation in Cahersiveen very closely. I congratulate you, Minister, on your forthright response to us and your willingness to act. It has no doubt been a very difficult time for the residents in the Skellig Star, and their concerns, as raised, are particularly upsetting. The pandemic has been a time for the entire country when our expectations and hopes were very suddenly arrested, and we were thrust into the unknown world, filling us all with apprehension. The necessary, sudden and dramatic suspension of anything that resembled normality as a result of the virus, resulting in the subsequent lockdown, while life-saving and absolutely the right action in and of itself undoubtedly has left a scar on our national psyche. Facing into this pandemic, we were all left with a sense of helplessness, facing an unknown and fearful enemy.
Senator. I'll remind you one more time, the acoustics are great, lads. So please text each other, use modern technology. We changed the standing order so you can. Senator.
Thank you. We all faced a sense of helplessness, facing into an unknown and fearful enemy in the virus, but at least most of us had the comfort of our own whole door to close and to feel secure behind. And so I can only imagine that the pandemic and the sudden, albeit necessary, relocation to emergency accommodation in the hotel has been difficult for the residents of the Skellig Star, given that they have already experienced trauma in their lives. That, coupled with the experience of the pandemic and the outbreak of the virus within the hotel and the horrible unknowns within that, undoubtedly exacerbated their feelings of helplessness, resulting in their current actions. I welcome the news that officials from your department, Minister, and from the International Protection Accommodation Services Unit visited the site and carried out an inspection. It is a relief that the objective evaluation confirmed that residents do indeed have access to clean, safe drinking water and meals. It is also assuring to know that officials have ensured that supports are available to the residents, and I also hear you and acknowledge that there are matters that remain outstanding and are being followed up by your department, and that your department has written and has these in hand. The pandemic circumstances of recent months have been unprecedented in the history of the state, and the circumstances of Cahersiveen, while they can't be viewed apart from that context, however, it is important, I believe, that their requests for transfers are considered and facilitated now that the restrictions have been relaxed, and I welcome that statement from you also. In light of all of this, it is a matter of regret that the residents have taken the action that they do, and that they continue to take that course of action, and I appeal to them to cease that. It is a statement of their sheer desperation to be heard that they would take such a serious action. Direct provision as a means of catering for the process of asylum seekers is a challenging structure, juxtaposed it is to a general housing shortage. The trajectory for some time now has been to replace it with more suitable arrangements. As you've stated, Minister, an expert group was formed last year under Catherine Day and the former Secretary General of the European Commission, who has chaired a cross-section of stakeholders, including former civil servants, refugee and migrant rights organisations. And I would ask and ensure that they need to hear from residents, and perhaps this particular group of residents would be valuable to add into that wealth of knowledge. Their objective is to recommend set time limits for the different stages of asylum seekers await decisions on their application, and to report on best practice in the European Union, and that we will adopt that as a country. That group has worked to accelerate their outcome, and as recently as the 5th of June, Ms Day confirmed that the report should be available in September of this year. This is commensurate with what is stated in the programme for government, and so the work to end the current system, with all of its inherent hardships and most definitely expressed and agreed hardships, has already begun. It is also of note that the overall goal of reforming direct provision is hoped to be achieved in the lifetime of this government, and that the interim policy is to ensure that accommodation centres meet the government's policy objective of having independent, self-contained living arrangements for residents, so that they may cater for and look after themselves. And it is really important within that we have a right to work. In January of this year, I made a speech in the context of recruitment and the recruitment industry, in which we noted the sheer lack of talent. We were running out of talent, and I looked to direct provision as a means of having that there was a wealth of people with skills and talents and knowledge there that we could harness as a nation, and we would be all the better for. So having people have a right to work, I think, is very, very important. It would be terribly disingenuous for anyone to lead a group or and especially this group of people seeking asylum to believe that direct provision in and of itself can be changed overnight. Mr. Minister O'Gorman is reporting that there are over 7,700 people seeking asylum in the system, and of those, the figure in emergency accommodation as of the 5th of June was 1,647. With those numbers, we have to acknowledge that the dismantling of direct provision will take time. I welcome, however, that these residents are being listened to, that their concerns are being addressed, and I look forward to a speedy end to their current actions and resolution of their situation. Thank you.